sort of combining here is what excited me about the original proposal. As you remember, we all know there was a museum, but I was more excited about the classrooms in the conference center. So the classrooms in the conference center I thought was very exciting because UWF at the time was going to move much of their adult education and adult MHA or master's programs downtown. Of course, that didn't happen, and at the time it didn't happen, but I hope you haven't, I haven't ever given up on the fact that we'd have a conference center on that property, and that's what this is. This is a state-of-the-art conference center. It's about 9,000 square feet per floor. It would be open on the second floor, a little bit higher so you could get good views of the stadium and so on. It would be utilized for educational events, conferences. It would be utilized certainly during game days. You could use it, wedding receptions, all sorts of things. The upper deck is a rooftop deck because we like the fact that we want people to see the sunset. We want people to see the views. And that, of course, would be available for social events and so on. The first floor would be available for a few things. Number one, you know, if you do a conference, and I do a lot of them because I am at them all the time, not only do you want a conference center, but you want a few breakout rooms too, and smaller rooms. On the first floor, we would have some breakout rooms. But again, if the park got to the point where you wanted to open up some things like for children, some retail while the kids are on the playground, ice cream, candy, so on, you could. We really want to keep those types of venues toward the children. But mainly it would be a ongoing active conference center. Now, toward the stadium, on the first floor, there would be some additional athletic space, and let me explain where that comes in. And Charles, you're a Wahoo fan, so I'll talk a little bit about this. I hope you all are, but I see you're at a lot of games with your family and appreciate it. We compete for affiliations. Every team in AA is assured an affiliation, but every 2 to 4 years, you throw your name in the hat. Now, we can throw our name in the hat and say we want somebody besides the Reds. The Reds can throw their name in the hat and say we'd like somebody besides Pensacola. And then you sort of have a period to talk to each other. And what do they look for in a community? Well, they look for, of course, a wonderful stadium, playing surface like we have. They look for a safe community. They look for travel. And we have those. That's not an issue. But again, because the stadium was jerry-rigged in a little bit, in fact, we're the only stadium that's probably been built in 30 years that has light poles inside the seating area. Almost every other ballpark in America has light poles on the outside, but again, that was the master developer at the time trying to squeeze the stadium to make parcels for private development. So there's some affiliations you always want. Some are better than others. We like to stay east of the Mississippi if we can because we think that's important. We like the Reds, but there's others out there. And probably an example I would give you is the Cubs. The Cubs are probably the Cubs, Boston, and the Yankees. Those are the three affiliations you'd always like to get. This year, the Cubs in Single A had always played in Kane County. Now, Kane County is right outside Chicago. Kane County is probably an hour from Wrigley Field. So it would make a lot of sense to have an affiliated team so close to your major league team, just like Cincinnati has Louisville, for example. However, they moved their Single A team this year to Indiana. And the reason they moved their Single A team to Indiana was player amenities. And what we want to do is make sure we have expansion opportunities for locker. Right now, underneath the stadium, you have one area that's for hitting, and they wanted indoor space is what they wanted. And they had one area for indoor hitting and pitching. Our hitters and pitchers share the same space. And then they actually share the same space with the visiting team. So we want to keep some flexibility there that if we ever need to expand the facility to make sure we hang on to a good affiliation like the Reds or even seek another affiliation down the road. But probably what I'm most excited about is that dream of that conference center down on that property, to which we always, I think that was what the voters voted on the first time with this public. So we're trying to bring back and fulfill promises that were made when these voters voted in 2005. The next is Site 6. That's what it looks like from the field. You can see it up a little bit so you can see over it. You can see the walk. You can see the upstairs for groups. So to think the Hancock Club, but now it can be weddings, conferences, sessions, to really attract more people downtown. Next one. This is probably what I'm most excited about. I told somebody today, I'm more excited about this than I was bringing AA baseball to Pensacola, Florida. I've never given up, and I know a lot of you haven't given up on bringing educational classrooms down to the this space. That's what originally the voters wanted. They voted for a museum, classrooms, and a conference center. We want to make Pensacola the place for entrepreneurs to come to get trained, entrepreneurs to learn how to run a business, entrepreneurs to be taught, entrepreneurs to get degrees. We want to create a place where not only would entrepreneurs come to learn, again, get educated, but also some of them would like offices in that area to take advantage of all the intellectual capital that we have here. Now, we designed it very much to look like what we think a campus, because we think that's what the Community Maritime Park should be, a campus. And now that also ties in, of course, to the conference center. And I would imagine any hotel would just be thrilled to death to have a conference center they're not building and that type of facility right next door to them. A couple things about it. On purpose, as you can see, we opened it up. Now, one thing you will notice that we need to do some things with on-site parking for the handicapped. Rishi and I, as you know, we're the only merchant downtown that has push buttons on all our doors for people that have disabilities, so it's easier to open a door because they can hit a button. We're very geared on that, so that would be developed. And sure, I think you know us well enough to know that would happen. It's happened every other place we've been, and all of you. We like the open concept. We walk them through the classrooms, and we're very excited, and we think we'll have some even more exciting announcements on who we're going to be partnering with to create that entrepreneur campus here in Pensacola, Florida. I think if is there another one, or is that it? That's it. So that's what happened on 3, 6, and 9. And one of the great advantages, of course, we have is we also own property across the street called the ECOA, which we also believe that's an important parcel. I was not that interested in that parcel until I had some partnership talks that people that want to come down there with us on the Entrepreneur Center. And also when we bought ECOA, I think it's really vital that this DeVillers Street gets developed. And when Ray Gindros did his grid, he talked about moving down DeVillers from the park. So we think the ECOA property is very important. And we want to make sure when people come down Main Street, they see that building, they say, wow, Pensacola, what a great place. We also want to make sure that it goes up and down to Villers so we can build something around ECOA that folds into this entrepreneurial campus that we plan on building if everything fulfills with Partial 6. So these are the first times just today that these plans are being done. Again, they've been done by local architects. Of course, there's local builders, local contractors, and so on. So that's our plans for 3, 6, and 9. Office space, things for children on the 3rd floor, possibly a sports museum. On the 9th floor, on the parcel 9, we're looking at a conference center. We're looking at breakout rooms down below, some potential expansion for the Wahoos. And then on parcel 6, we're looking to create an entrepreneurial campus here in downtown Pensacola. Because working with people like Chad Henderson, who's here, people that understand that we have so much young talent in this town. We have so many exciting companies that are growing that we want to make sure that we can feed those companies. And that's why Rishi and I are also starting the Greater Pensacola Entrepreneur Fund, which will also be a way to help finance some of these entrepreneurs in this community. Because Gallup says if you don't support and keep your local talent here, they'll go someplace else. And we just don't want to lose any more talent. And we look forward to hopefully making this a reality like we've done every other project we've ever announced.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys coming down and presenting that to us now.